back to the PR library plan. Now this was created again in the spring of 2015 for Library Science 5823. And as you can see, if I just kind of scroll through, I've got 3 activities for each month, August through May, and there is a description of each activity for each month, and then there's also a specific standard that I was hoping to address with each of these. And so some of them, like Discoverers Day, I think you can really get all of the AASL standards for librarians happening on this one thing. But then there's others, Teen Read Week. That's really the focus of Teen Read Week is going to be on Standard 2 literacy and reading. Now, overall, I think this entire PR plan really speaks to Standard 4. Standard 4, which is advocacy and leadership. And I think it addresses all parts of Standard 4. So if we start with Standard 4.1, which is networking with library community, I planned 2 activities with other librarians. The first was a cross-curriculum reading program between the middle school and the elementary school libraries. For this, the elementary librarian and I would collaborate kind of as a partnership, and then we would collaborate, and then the second activity, we would collaborate for this cross-curricular, and so I would help my middle school students, she would help her elementary kids, and then they would go across the way to the elementary and kind of read together, bringing the 2 groups of students together. The second, as I scroll down here, sorry about that, this program right here, Summer Reading Fun and Parents Night, this second activity is where I would really be working with the public librarian, right? So we get to the end of school, it's May, our parents start to wonder, what is my kid going to do all summer? How am I going to keep them busy? How am I going to keep them reading? So at the end in May, I specifically designed a program or a day in the library where the public librarian would be asked to come to the school during kind of a parent information night to discuss summer programs. And then as a librarian, I would continue to promote that during that last few weeks of school. But the librarian is going to come and we're going to talk to parents together about ways that we can help the kids, that they can help their kids, that the public librarian can help their kids throughout the summer. So 4.1, networking with library community. Throughout this PR plan, I'm working with the public librarian, and then I'm also working with the elementary librarians. 4.2, professional development. I've included 2 after-school professional development opportunities. The first is this right here, this technology in the classroom professional development. And so for this, with technology constantly changing and moving, we're getting close to OCCT time, or just after OCCT time, but, this is when Teen Tech Week starts. It's also when ALA kind of puts out their newest list of the top tech things. So I would do a professional development day here after school. I would facilitate it, highlighting new apps and technologies available to teachers. And then I would also work with each department during this professional development to kind of plan a lesson using one of the new technologies that would help review content prior to state testing. The other activity is during the first week of school, kind of at that beginning, but when teachers come, but kids aren't there yet. And that would be a technology refresher professional development. That would just kind of get them back in the swing of things, how to use the iPad. It would really just be a refresher, question, answer type session, discussion session, and how can I be of assistance? This would be a time where I would be advocating for me. This is what I can do. This is what the library can do. How can we help you? So professional development, there's 2 of them for 4.2, professional development. That leads us to 4.3, leadership. Throughout the year, I will collaborate with teachers, librarians, and administrators to plan lessons, professional development, and parent community nights. Working as a team, we will focus on how the library can assist staff members with improving student achievement. These collaborations will occur multiple times throughout the school year in both formal and informal settings. So when I'm talking about formal settings and talking about like this right here, this professional development, that's more of a formal setting. But I'm also going to try and work with the teachers in my school to, you know, not just doing the displays, that's more of a library thing, but like this Discoverers Day. I want to work with teachers. I want to collaborate with teachers to really make that thing just be phenomenal, lots of fun, really showcase the library, showcase the learning in the library, but also showcase the library in the school. So I've got activities like that about every 2 or 3 months. And finally, advocacy. One way to improve school achievement, student achievement, is to get parents and community members on board to assist their students outside the classroom. The easiest way to get parents on board is to establish a working relationship with them at the beginning of the school year. So for the PR plan, I've created 5 parent community outreach programs throughout the year. Each of these activities is meant to promote reading for learning, personal growth, and enjoyment. Parents and community members will be invited to come to the library and celebrate reading. Included in each parent night will be time for reading with their student, hands-on activities that focus on strategies to improve reading, and some dinner options. The goal is to form a partnership between the school and the community to improve learning. So like right here, we've got Halloween celebration. That's going to be an after-school thing. Parents come. It'll be lots of fun. I've got 5 of those throughout to really nail on 4.4 advocacy, bringing in the community and the parents. Now, creating this plan really did help me as an educator. As a teacher, I know what I have to do, right? At the beginning of the year, I get a curriculum map. The curriculum map's not something I designed. It's something that the district designed and gave me and said, this is what you need to teach this year. So I use that curriculum map to organize my lessons. The curriculum map is, it's there, it's in the back of my head, it's my own plan of what's going to happen, but I don't really have a lot of input. I don't have a lot of say. And creating this PR plan for the library made me think specifically about ways to involve librarians, teachers, parents, and community to create a working relationship with all. The plan's goal was to increase student achievement, and I had the opportunity to stop and think, what do students need right now during each month? I was able to do this by developing a plan to implement programs that would help students attain achievement. It helped me understand what the purpose of the library was as a teacher. As a librarian, it helped me think, how can I help my kids? How can I help the kids? How can I help the teachers? How can I help them right now? And that was something I had never really thought of, right? Because I'm giving my curriculum map at the beginning of the year. So it helped me understand that the librarian doesn't get that curriculum map. The librarian gets here is the school's plan. Now, what can you do to help the kids right now? Now, if I were to change this, I created the PR plan based on my own experience with the library dates, kind of the things that I had seen happen in our school library over the past 7 years. You know, there's been some professional development opportunities. There's been a few literacy nights, some collaborative planning. I used the American Library Association and Education World and the school librarian as my resources, but I didn't talk to my school principal. My goal was to find a place in the school year to provide multiple opportunities for parent involvement, but did I get too many for my principal's goals? Did I not have enough? I think a conversation with the school principal about his or her expectations of the library and how many activities should occur each year would be a really good starting point to create my curriculum map. I had to have 3 for my assignment in the library science class, but my school principal might want more. He might want less. Does he want less during the months of state testing and more during the month right before that? So that would be a conversation if I were to create a library plan again. When I create a library plan again, that I will have that conversation with him prior to making the PR plan. And so that leaves us with just 2 artifacts in the standard 4 section of my portfolio. And so we will go ahead and get started on my professional development presentation. Now, Tulsa Public Schools Tech Plugin was a professional development this summer for Tulsa Public Schools. And it just so happened that in the spring of 2015, one of the assignments for the Library Science 5823 course was to create a professional development presentation that could be given at a professional conference. And I received this assignment 2 days after the district asked me to present at the Tech Plug-in. So I was able to create this, and then I was also able to use it and get some really hands-on knowledge, which was lots of fun and very stressful, but I think it went pretty good. So what did I need to do? Let's start with a summary of the activities. Professional development is an important aspect of keeping educators updated on information technology and teaching trends. I was tasked with locating the conference, which I did, and creating this presentation. So the technology conference was geared towards Tulsa Public Schools educators who struggled with incorporating technology into their curriculum. This year, Tulsa Public Schools began to transition to a Google Classroom setting. And so I began to experiment throughout the year with Google Forms, and I was asked to teach a class on Google Forms at the Tulsa Public Schools Tech Plug-in. And so for the course, I needed to create this presentation, and I used Prezi to create this how-to facilitator-led training where teachers would be hands-on working, creating their own Google Forms in the classroom. And so what I did is I created a Prezi. We'll let it go ahead and load up. But I created this Prezi that walked teachers who were not used to using technology, not used to using Prezi, not used to using Google Forms particularly in their classroom. And I started with, let's go ahead and skip forward. I started with some rationale, like what's the benefit, what's the purpose, how is this going to help you as a teacher, how's it going to make your life easier as a teacher, but also how's it going to benefit the students. And then I worked them through the process. I had teachers create their own Google form based on their own content. I helped them grade it, making their life easier, and share it to students. And then there was a little bit of discussion there at the end. Whoops. Okay, that was one of the links. Sorry about that. So, and then there was a survey that they were going to do for me at the very end, which would help me kind of evaluate for the next time that I used this program. And so specifically, this one, it addresses standard 4.2 for professional development. I created the presentation using Prezi for educators. The presentation was designed for teachers working in Tulsa Public Schools. It was presented at the TPS Tech Conference, Tech Plug-in 2015, to approximately 45 teachers. All of the attending teachers had little knowledge of Google Forms, and in leading this professional development opportunity, I was able to facilitate some teacher technology integration and some personal growth in relation to their own teaching methods, kind of sharing best practices with this professional development. So how did this help me as an educator? Prior to this experience, I had plenty of experience attending professional development, but I had no experience leading the professional development. So when designing this presentation, I had to think critically about what my goals were for those attending and create a presentation that would facilitate all attendees reaching these goals. I was surprised to find that creating a professional development was very similar to creating a lesson for students, and I needed to think, to model, and provide opportunities to discuss and practice the process for creating the Google form. And I realized that professional development is not much different than teaching. You've got to have the same instructional goals. You've got to have the same kind of plan, the same time for modeling, the same time for questioning. So this helped me because I was able to realize that teaching kids is not much different than teaching students. Or I mean, teaching teachers is not much different than teaching students. So that will help me in the future with professional development. And if I were to change anything again, the only thing I would change is that when I went to present this project, this PD, I didn't have teachers bring their own laptops, and so teachers were using a TPS kind of borrowed computer, and this made signing into their Google accounts a little more difficult, and they were unable to add some Google tools like Flubberoo and Awesome Screenshot. So if I were to teach it again, I would definitely make